Every now and again, an ABC early morning listener will ring me with a request to write a poem on a certain subject. When I got a phone call from a lady one day asking me to write a poem about Pope John Paul II, who she assured me was known as JP2, I was stunned to say the least. I know nothing about him, I said, but the caller was adamant and said she would tell me all I needed to know. The day I met JP2. I was sitting by my campfire, waiting for the billy to boil, contemplating the problems of this place we call our mortal coil. Of all the wars, both big and small, and trouble between black and white, of all the killings based upon religion, even I know that ain't right. Brother fighting brother, someone always wanting more, millions of people starving, children were dying by the score. I was thinking the world was stuffed, well and truly wrecked, when I heard a voice say quietly, "My son, you're not correct." Well, I quickly looked around for the voice that spoke to me, and I saw this old bloke sitting on a log neath a bohemia tree. Now, he didn't look like a bushman, and he sort of seemed far away. Then his lips began to move, and I reckon he began to pray. He was talking in some foreign lingo, but I knew what he meant. He was asking for forgiveness for a world that was well and truly bent. Now, I ain't religious, well educated, or the sharpest tool in the shed, but fair dinkum, I recognised this bloke and I knew that he was dead. His funeral had been on telly. Leaders around the world had on his virtues spoke. One and all had agreed that John Paul II was a bonzer bloke. Well, I offered him some tucker, but he said his fast he could not break. But he'd like a drink of water, for his thirst he'd like to slake. I kid you not. Sitting in my camp was JP2, the world's second longest serving Pope. The man who for years told us not to be afraid, that there was always hope. A man of true charisma, who is admired and loved by one and all, people from across the world, no matter what their religious call. Now, a man who's respected by all religions is a very rare breed, loved by the people of the world, no matter their colour or creed. But I couldn't help but wonder why with me he'd come to speak, but his voice was hypnotic and me knees were feeling weak. But I thought it only polite to tell His Holiness that he had the wrong bloke. 'Cause I'm not devout or a true believer, I said, as I rolled and lit a smoke. But he gave a knowing smile and slowly shook his head, looked me in the eye and said, "My son, hope is never dead. We must pray and play together if we are to overcome the troubles of this world. Now let me give you the drum. For a new and better world, you know it's not too late, or we can look each other in the eye and call each other mate." He went on to say, "It starts with common man, fellas just like you, to make the politicians understand there is no need to blue." Well, he spoke to me as an equal, in a language I could understand. So I was not surprised so many had respected this humble man. And his magnetic personality, it really drew me in, and I started contemplating life where maybe peace and love would win. In this world which was so full of cruelty and pain, I realised this man had left a legacy that surely will remain. But when I looked around again, I was alone, and the sun was on the rise. And I wondered if I'd been dreaming as I rubbed my tired eyes. But you know, somehow things seemed brighter, and I was full of hope. And this is the first time I've ever mentioned that visit from the Pope.